What is up, Nerd Nation? It's your boy Hunter here from Film Nerd TV, and tonight we are doing the Nerd List Episode 1, and this one is our top 7 DC movie villains list. But I'm not here alone. I can't rate my own list. So we have 4 great guys with us tonight. We're going to start with, on my screen, Sandy Sandman Robinson. How's it going, man?
It is going good. Thanks for having me here. I'm really looking forward to this list. It's going to be great, and I can't wait to debate it with everybody who's on this panel.
Friendships will be broken here tonight. That's a guarantee. We are joined also by the Hobbit, Robert Parker. How's it going? First time on my channel, I believe.
I think I've been on here when we ranked the MCU, but this is the first time, and it's been a while, so I'm really happy to be back.
And of course, we have Jeremy the Adam Adams. How's it going, man?
Oh, it's going great. I'm so glad I could hop on here. When it comes to geek stuff, DC is really kind of my favorite, so I'm always excited when I get to specifically talk DC.
Oh, yeah. And of course, we have from Take 3, Chris Clark. How's it going, man?
I'm doing terrible. I'm really doing absolutely awful, and I'm probably going to be doing even worse if you guys don't accept the stuff that I want on this list. So let's do this, Hunter, and I hope you make me happy, or you are not invited to anything Take 3 ever, ever again.
Chris is going to kill us all with his cane, his special exploding cane.
Umbrella.
We're already off the
umbrella.
I'm now sad that Jeremy didn't know that.
Yeah, I screwed up that reference. Sorry.
Okay, so how this works for the people at home, we nominate our top 10 DC villains from a movie. Then we eliminate 3, knocking it down to 7, and then we rank our top 7 to 1. All right, so let's start off with Sandman. Who is your first nomination?
Oh, see, I've been on a lot of these lists, so I know to come right out with my nuclear weapon right off the bat to make sure that it gets set on there. So I'm going to put to the vote of Lex Luthor from Superman, portrayed by Gene. Flat out one of the best villains in all of moviedom. He is smart. He is Superman's equal when it comes to intelligence. He's actually smarter because he can come up with things to defeat Superman, and almost did on several occasions in the movies specifically. His portrayal in Superman 2 as the person who wants to be the liaison between the other Kryptonians and Superman is fantastic. It's funny while being serious all at the same time. But nothing will ever top the original performance in the 1978 Superman.
All right, let's go over to Robert for his vote. Lex Luthor, played by Gene Hackman.
Oh, I didn't want to be the first one to go on to, because I actually think that there are at least 10 DC movies that are better than Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor. I do like Gene Hackman's Lex Luthor. I think he is good in the role. I think he's best in Superman the movie. 2 and 3, he's all right. I know I coming out with the hot takes right out the gate. I'm gonna say no to this one, even though I am fairly certain it will still get by. This was not my top 10.
What? All right, Adam. Yes or no, Gene Hackman?
The only reason I didn't nominate it is because I knew Sandy was going to. So it's an absolute yes for me. He's top 3 for me. Just one of my favorite performances in any comic book movie, particularly in the first 2 Superman films. Hackman's a legend, a genius, and he brought so much to that character. You have the humor, you have the intelligence. It's just a fantastic character. And he's just one of the all-time DC villains. He's just an iconic villain. And that is the best version of that villain that we've had on screen.
All right. So we have 1 yes, 1 no, or technically, sorry, 2 yeses, 1 no. Chris?
I grew up with this, and real estate is something that we all should treasure. It really, really is. Gene Hackman is a staple. Will he get into the top 7? I don't know, but he's number 7 on my list, actually. So, yes, Gene Hackman. Go for it. There's another Superman villain that's better than Gene Hackman, and we'll probably get to him. But for now, Hackman is still an OG.
All right, awesome. So Gene Hackman is Lex Luthor is our first on our list. I would have said yes also. I absolutely love Gene Hackman as Lex Luthor. He just brings the suave, the comedy, everything about him is just pure Lex Luthor.
What if he said Jesse Eisenberg?
They said Kevin Spacey.
Good
That
thing
would have been
wrong.
You mean
Christopher Plummer.
Never.
All right, next, Robert. What's your nomination?
All right, so I am not going to come up
Heartless
again
Tommy.
with one of my big guns. I'm going to go with a little bit of a wild ball
Niche.
pick, and this might be a cheat. You guys can say if it's not actually the villain, but I think that the comedian from Watchmen is a worthwhile addition to this list. Yeah, he's not the villain for the entire film, but there are scenes where he is villainous. So I'm going with the comedian from Watchmen. I can change if you think that's too much of a cheat, but
What do you guys think?
what do you guys think?
I almost put him on my list.
Yeah, I would accept it.
Okay.
Okay, so I can sell the pitch one more time. If it's like an accepted nomination at least.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
So the comedian, while not the main villain of the movie, that would be Ozymandias, played by Matthew Goode. Jeffrey Dean Morgan's comedian is a real dark look at America. He literally embodies the dark side of our culture, which I think is really interesting. Especially there's the scene where the Vietnamese woman that he was with while they were at the war comes in and he tests Dr. Manhattan by shooting her. That's incredibly dark. There are obviously scenes with him and the first Silk Spectre that we find out throughout the movie. So there's a lot that happens with this character, and I think it's just really a dark betrayal of like innermost like American underbelly, so that's why I decided to include it.
All right, so let's start off with Jeremy. What's your vote?
Unlike some people that I could mention, but I won't, I'm actually a fan of the movie Watchmen. I think Watchmen, the comic, is one of the most important superhero stories that we ever had in that form, and I think the movie does a fairly admirable job trying to translate that to the screen, and there's a lot I like about it. So I think Watchmen should be represented, and if you're going to single out one character, for me it would be the comedian. I think that what Jeffrey Dean Morgan brought to the character, his performance and some of the brutal things that he does, and how he kind of drives the story in a lot of ways. I think that is a good pick for this list. And the guy who is revealed ultimately to be the villain at the end of the movie, to me, is not as strong, not as memorable as the comedian, and really not as evil as the comedian in terms of some of the things that he does, some of the historical evils that he did that we see in the film. So I'll say yes on the comedian.
He also assassinated JFK. So.
Yeah, that's what I was hinting at that. That's pretty villainous.
Spoiler.
It's a 9-year-old movie. I think it's old. I already spoiled the main villain.
That's in the opening credits.
What did you say? Hunter?
It's on you.
Okay, the comedian is an interesting choice. He's not on my list, and I think there are a lot of villains that are more prevalent in the actual movie itself that deserve it a little bit better. Like, I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan. Negan is amazing, but you gotta. I would say no. I like his character, but I wouldn't consider him the villain. He's a bad person, but as the main antagonist of a film, an antagonist in general, that goes against that definition. So I would go no.
Okay, Sandy.
Okay, so I did say when we were deciding whether or not that he was a villainous or he played a villainous role in this one, that I almost put him on my list. And now thinking about it a little bit more, I like him on the list. I think he's bad enough in that movie, or villainous enough in that movie, that he qualifies. I also think that out of everybody in that movie. I mean, Ozymandias is, yeah, okay, he's more villainy. You know, he's supposed to be the bad guy. But yeah, no, I kind of agree with Jeremy on this one, and with Robert, that like the things that he does are pretty bad. Like they're pretty bad. So I mean, it would be like saying, okay, well, you know, is Batman a hero or a villain? Well, I mean, if he was blowing people's heads off and, you know, putting bombs down their pants or whatever, throwing them off of roofs onto pikes and stuff like that, I think we'd consider Batman kind of a villain, you know. But so for me, yeah, he makes my list.
Okay, so a shocking one here. Comedian makes the list.
That's interesting.
I don't need a single win for the rest of the thing. That was my one. That was my left field pick.
That's a super left field. I mean, good on you guys. Away from the norm.
The reason I didn't go was because I haven't watched Watchmen yet. I started watching it, and then it was way too late.
It's a beautiful movie.
It's
I'm
long,
definitely
but
going
it's
to check it out.
I'm really
going to check it out, but
It's one less Schumacher villain to possibly make the list.
Well,
exactly.
Who's going to nominate Mr. Freeze? I cannot.
Hey,
you will. That's foreshadowing. Now he's gonna.
See, you guys want to see Hulk come out? Because nobody puts anything from Batman and Robin on this list.
Yeah, I think you're safe, Sandy.
That's agreed upon. All right, Jeremy, go ahead with your nomination.
Where do I want to start? I am gonna go with. We're gonna have to get to Batman eventually, but I'm gonna stay with Superman, and I'm gonna say this guy was always my favorite movie villain growing up. He is badass. He's funny. He's awesome. He's cool. This introduced me to a great actor, and that is kneel before Terrence Stamp as General Zod. This is Terrence Stamp as General Zod in the original Superman movies. He was so great. We totally understood that he was this otherworldly criminal. We kind of got his motivation, and when he and Ursa Non, his two cohorts, came to Earth and had the same powers that Superman had, that was such a threat, and it really upped the stakes for the sequel, and that's what you really need to do. You need to up the stakes from the first movie, and in the first movie, they were introduced, and we kind of got that, hey, they could end up being a threat at some point, and when we see them in full force and everything they do in that movie, and then they're threatening the Earth while Superman has given up his powers. It's so great. It's such a great story in that film, and he is such a fantastic villain. And that performance, I think, it's the perfect blend of campy and serious and like legitimate great acting with kind of making fun of it a little bit. I just love that character, and you can't have this list without him.
All right, so I'm going to start with this one. Yeah, I'm voting yes. Very entertaining, very menacing, and knows how to walk that line perfectly well. In an already great Superman 2, you had a great villain in Zod, played by Terrence Stamp. Definitely a vote for a yes vote for me. There we go. All right, Robert.
Yeah, this is when I was ordering my top 10. This is the one Superman villain that actually made it in my top 10, the only one. So definitely a yes for me.
Okay. Sandman.
Oh, really? I have two Zods on my list.
That would be a yes.
Ooh, that's interesting.
It's an absolute yes from me. He plays it so maniacal without being over the top. It's so like, but he does go over the top every once. The whole scene where he's like kneel before. I mean, like that's so sick and funny and hilarious to watch now when you go back and kneel before Zod. Like the English accent really brings that out. It's such a good portrayal of that bad guy, and yeah, absolutely, you have his little two cohorts as well. 100% on my list.
All right, it's going on anyway. But Chris, what would you have said?
I would have said no because it's too awesome. Yes, of course, yes. Zod. Stamp is fantastic. He's a universally acclaimed. He was the one I was referencing as the other Superman villain. Yeah, so Zod is a complete and utter YEO. Why yes? Why yes?
Yo.
Yo,
Awesome.
yes.
All right, so now we are on Chris Clark. Go ahead.
Well, look, a lot of people don't consider the old Batman. I think this is going to be the first Batman villain on the table. A lot of people consider the Nolan trilogy like perfection, the Dark Knight perfection. But the Tim Burton movies have their camp value, they have their eclecticness, and they also have what I consider to be very theatrical. It feels like a stage play in monochrome black ink being portrayed for you through music that's super orchestral, super theatrical, and it just feels like a stage show, and it's great. And nothing more exemplifies this than the Hallmark 1992 classic Batman Returns, Danny DeVito's Penguin. He completely encompasses everything that is a great DC villain. What is centered upon him and that entire story for Batman. If you don't like Batman Returns, you're gonna say no. But Batman Returns revolves around him. He is what many consider to be the freak, and that's what Tim Burton portrayed himself onto. And you can tell that Tim Burton put so much passion around that villain that no Batman villain before or since has had a movie so dedicated around their personality and their traits. And Batman Returns is basically a Penguin movie, not a Batman movie. And when you have a villain that strong, not many other Batman villains can say that they are the center point of the movie. Like they are an important part of the movie, but Penguin in Batman Returns was the center point and focal point of his movie. That's my argument for Penguin on the table. If you don't like Batman Returns, I'm fucked.
All right, let's go over to Jeremy. What do you say?
My thing with Batman Returns has always been, it's a really great Tim Burton movie. Like, if you want a Tim Burton movie, that movie has everything. It's not a very good Batman movie. It really isn't very true, in my opinion, other than one character. It doesn't really get the spirit of Batman very well. I don't know that Tim Burton was really a true Batman fan or a comic book fan. He just wanted to take these characters and kind of tell a story about things that he was interested in his style. And I think that the Penguin that we get in this movie, really, to me, it isn't really the Penguin from the Batman legend. It isn't really the Penguin. It's kind of this version of it that Tim Burton's bringing us, that's biting people's noses off and being gross and has ooze coming out and he's living in the sewers and all this weird stuff. And I don't know. I don't love that portrayal of the character. I think Danny DeVito is great, but yeah, there is a character from this movie I have on my list. Unfortunately, it isn't this one. I'm really sorry. I know I'm even more on Chris's list now than ever, but I gotta say no.
Yeah, I know. Like, if you think about it, though, the character you're thinking of, she doesn't,
Shouldn't be on the list either.
I'll make that case later.
Yeah.
All right, Robert.
Jeremy stole the words out of my mouth. I really do like Danny DeVito in this film. This is a really fun Tim Burton movie, but it doesn't really feel like Penguin. I think you picked the wrong Penguin. I think there's a different Penguin.
Don't say that I don't have another one on here.
Okay. We'll talk that one hopefully soon. But yeah, I think, it's Penguin just making sexual innuendos and biting people and running for mayor, and it's just
the whole pussy I've been looking for.
Yep, that line right there that I wasn't gonna say, but you sure did. I like Danny DeVito. I like the Penguin character. I don't think it works as a great Batman villain. So it's not on my list.
All right, I'm gonna go to me, and I'm gonna agree with them. Again, Danny DeVito is a very great actor, but he wasn't portraying the Penguin. He was portraying the Penguin as Tim Burton saw him, which was completely the opposite way to go. So for me, it's a no.
I am disgusted by everybody on this panel.
I'm sorry,
you have all made the list.
Sorry.
But
Sandy, what would you have said?
I would have absolutely put this guy on the list.
Does that mean I can save it?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
my
have
goodness.
I have a different penguin on my list. So
All right, so now we're gonna go on to me. Mine's gonna be a little out there because I'm not sure if he's really counted as a main villain, but he is a villain in this movie, and it's of course the Joker from Batman: Mask of the Phantasm, voiced by the great Mark Hamill.
That's a
So-
goodie. That's good.
So I watched this movie recently, and it's holds up so well. It's really, really, really good. And Joker, as Mark Hamill's Joker steals every scene he's in. That iconic Joker voice that you've heard from the animated series, from the games, is portrayed here. He is just everything you want in a great Joker. And I understand if you guys would not count this one, but that's my argument. He should at least not be brought up, in my opinion. All right, Robert.
Yeah, this one is really interesting. It was on my side list, but I didn't quite make my top 10. I think there is the other villain in this movie blows Joker off the screen completely. I still really like Joker's involvement in this movie. I think Mark Hamill is an amazing Joker. He hasn't had a lot of great film appearances. But in general, I think the other villain in this movie completely blows Mark Hamill's Joker in this movie off the screen. So I think there's at least one, if not two, other Jokers that should be in contention instead of this one for the list. So I'm gonna have to say no.
Not to say I don't have him on there though.
Yeah, I know.
Jeremy.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is a yes for me. I love Mark Hamill's the Joker. Maybe he wasn't in this one as much as he was in the series, but he's still just fantastic in that role. And I think they used him well in the movie. Got just enough of him, and you got to have Mark Hamill's Joker on this list as DC villains, for God's sake. So that would be a yes.
All right, Chris.
This is interesting because look, Mark Hamill is my favorite Joker. He's my favorite voice. That's because I grew up with the animated series. I love the DC animated universe. And if this was released theatrically, Batman Beyond Return of the Joker is where he truly shines. Problem is, Mask of the Phantasm, he comes in during the third act. He's only there for a portion of the movie. He's not the center point of the movie. And judging by the movie itself, Mark Hamill, although he steals every scene he's in, there's going to be 7 spots on this list. If 3 of them are Jokers, it kind of drowns it out. So, and I think the other 2 Jokers, one of them in particular, is far more deserving. So I would have to go with a no, even though if this was Return of the Joker, we would be singing a different tune.
All right, Sandy, can you save the Joker here?
no, I can't. He's not on my list. Strictly because I just don't think he had enough screen time. I honestly believe what Chris just said, that if we were doing Batman Beyond Return of the Joker, hands down. He's in it for most of that movie. He has way more of a voice appearance, and I have a friend.
Hi, Kitty.
But as far as Jokers go, there are several more versions of the Joker that put way more time into it. So for this particular version of Joker, I gotta say no to this one.
Okay,
And it's just because of the movie he's in. It's not Mark Hamill himself.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, I'd put Mark Hamill on every list just because. Even if he's not in any of the movies. But
I didn't expect it to come on. It was my long shot, but I had to give it a shot.
I'm glad it came up so we could discuss it, though.
Yeah, we definitely got an opportunity to talk about it, which is good.
Yeah.
All right, Sandy, you're up.
All right. So do I go opposite of Robert again and go for my next giant pick, or do I?
You might want to do your giant picks early.
Yeah, because I feel like giant picks early are probably best.
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple more giant picks I'm going for next.
All right. Okay. So, God damn it. All right. I know a lot of people give this movie a lot of crap because it was the third and most people didn't enjoy this third movie. It is a very, very guilty pleasure of mine. I watch it almost at least 2 or 3 times a year. I love it. It is Batman Forever, and I am choosing
Oh God.
that one, but I am choosing Jim Carrey's portrayal of the Riddler as my pick. Say whatever
If
you
they didn't
want.
pick
about the
Penguin,
movie.
they wouldn't pick this.
His portrayal of the Riddler is absolutely spot on. He is a smart guy. He's not a stupid guy. He's not a jokey guy. He's a riddle guy. He's a thoughtful person. He's a thoughtful bad guy. And Jim Carrey played both Edward Nygma and listen to Chris moaning over there.
I'm gonna break his heart.
He played both Edward Nygma perfectly, as well as the Joker, or not the Joker, but the Riddler perfectly. So say what you want about the rest of the movie and how bad that the neon that came in with Joel Schumacher, all of that crap, and we're not bringing up the fourth one. No.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's it. That's my spiel on them.
Hunter, can I go for a second?
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
Look, Sandy, I actually think as a film, Batman Forever is a stronger narrative than Batman Returns objectively. It is a Batman story. Batman Returns is a Tim Burton freak story, which still works in its own realm. Maybe objectively people don't think that's a Batman story. I think that's debatable, but is what it is. Batman Forever as a movie has a strong story. You're saying that Jim Carrey played Edward Nygma and the Riddler? Jim Carrey played Jim Carrey. The thing is, the Riddler isn't anybody except Ace Ventura in a onesie. It really comes down to that. And when you bring it down to brass tacks, I would actually take Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face over him, because at least Tommy Lee Jones was a character. And I get that, but Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face is also a Joker clone. So I would say hell no to Jim Carrey as Jim Carrey.
All right, I'm going next because I'm going to say Sandy. I'm voting yes. Because his portrayal of not only the comic book Riddler, but adding his own spin to it worked well in a movie that was not that good. And for Riddler to stand out, and for him to be smart and methodical, but still have that comedy background, I think he played a Riddler well. He played it really good. Now, as Chris brought up Batman Returns, the problem with Batman Returns is that, as I said before, Danny DeVito wasn't playing the Penguin. He was playing.
Jeremy and Robert are crying.
But
I'm looking at Robert and laughing. Sorry.
I'm voting yes. I don't care. Jeremy?
It's on you,
okay.
Jeremy, because Robert didn't know.
I love you, Sandy. my brother. I'm also very fond of you, Chris, but you're both crazy because Jim Carrey does nothing but ham it up and be goofy and ridiculous in that movie. What levels does he have of intelligence and stuff?
So you're agreeing with me.
Yeah, he's hamming it up. He's goofy. It's. I'm sorry, I don't watch that. I watched that. I liked that movie back in the '90s. I've tried watching it since. It is unwatchable. I can get it as a guilty pleasure, but I really don't like that movie. And Chris, Tommy Lee Jones's Two-Face is the worst DC villain ever.
I actually would say that. Yes. Yes,
he's playing Jim Carrey. Tommy Lee Jones is playing Jim Carrey in that movie.
I know, but he was playing. Yeah, but he was playing a character. My point is,
he isn't. He's horrible. It doesn't do anything.
I know that, but he was playing something. Jim Carrey wasn't playing anything. He was one note.
They're both just being hammy and not doing anything. Go ahead, Sandy.
I do want to just answer. I want to just comment on Jeremy's comment about him not being smart. He figured out who Batman really was.
In a cheesy script twist, but I don't really get that from Jim Carrey's performance. It isn't like I look at that guy and I see a lot of intelligence. I just see a wacky performer being wacky.
Right.
The sad part about Forever is that it would have so much potential.
Do we even have to go to Robert?
All
No,
right.
it's over.
Yeah.
Hold on.
The quick answer is no. The one thing is I don't like a Riddler. Like you guys said that Riddler isn't supposed to be jokey. He's methodical. He's sociopathic. He's obsessive. He's
But there is a
compulsive,
Riddler.
he's narcissistic. But
as well.
okay, but the Riddler that I want to see, Riddler is a character, is my favorite of the Batman Rogues Gallery. I know, like, Riddler is my favorite. I have not seen him done well on screen yet, like, perfectly as I will,
Animated series is
ideally
great.
want him on screen, theatrically released. And I don't want a Riddler who goes, "Surf's up, big kahuna!" No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
That's a great quote.
Danny,
Penguin says pussy, and
I really tried.
and Whittler says
I really
kahuna.
tried.
Chris just wants
All
to say
right,
pussy
Robert.
as many times as possible on a feed.
Pussy, pussy, pussy. I shouldn't have said that, but go for it.
Robert, go ahead.
All right, I'm bringing out the big guns. Heath Ledger's Joker, The Dark Knight. Yes, 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 across the board. Let's go.
That's it? No explanation needed?
Do you
I have a
need
hot take on this.
Do
I
you
do.
need it? This is a Oscar-winning performance. Rightfully so. Even if he hadn't died, I think he would have won the Oscar. This is a genre-defining role. This created every comic book villain that we have ever seen has been compared to this one because this is the standard bearer. This is a rewatchable performance. You could watch this performance every single day and find something new in it. This is chaotic. This is even things that aren't like expressly explained in the movie. You look at like the barge sequence. There's the fan theory that whoever the person. The boat who had that lever, if they had pressed it, their own boat would have exploded. This is the most quotable DC villain. Do I really look like a guy with a plan? I'm only burning my half. Everything is. We're gonna have tryouts. Hit me. The hit me scene is so good. This is just ultimately the DC villain.
All right. Sandy?
Did we lose him? No.
Boo.
No,
Hey,
he's-
Sandy.
Boo. Boo. No, I'm just kidding.
Really?
He makes a list, of course. He's as far as I'm concerned, he's played the Joker as spot on perfect as I would want him to be. I do like a little bit of a variety. The Joker himself is a Joker. That's the whole point. Heath Ledger's Joker didn't tell a lot of jokes, didn't do a lot of, funny type of things. Like he did things that were funny to him, like squishing the guy's head through a pencil, at the beginning, or having like all the bombs tied to his little thumb as he's walking away. The stupid Joker mask at the beginning, then he takes it off and it's still a Joker mask. I mean, so he did some funny things. So he's absolutely 100. He's not my favorite Joker, but he's absolutely deserving of being on this list.
All right, I'm going next. Of course, this is an obvious choice. One of probably the best portrayal of Joker on screen form. The comic accurate, not really, but he's one of the best. Gave a great performance, and Heath Ledger owns the Joker character. All right, Jeremy.
It's the best comic book movie villain. It's one of the greatest performances of all time, and it's like from the first moment that you see him, and he says, "I believe what doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger." From that moment on, you're captivated, and he's scary. He's likable in a certain way. He's funny. He's terrifying. He's awesome. He's everything that you could want in a villain. And yeah, he did kind of put a different spin on the Joker from what we had seen before, kind of tying in with the theme that Nolan was going for. But unlike, something like Batman Returns, I still feel like we're still in that Batman universe. And it is true to the spirit of the character, even though there are some unique differences. And I just think it's amazing. A lot of people thought it was bad casting. A lot of people were very skeptical. They were going onto the chat boards, but that performance made everyone a believer, and won the Oscar. Not that means everything, but it definitely
means
is
something.
telling. Means something
A lot,
sometimes.
actually. All right, and Chris, what was your answer? It's already in, but
I know this is a hot take. I would have voted yes for Heath Ledger, but if this was a top 10 DC movies countdown, I would actually have said no. Dark Knight is an absolute mess of a film narratively. It's narratively a mess. It's overrated as all hell. The last act is a complete miswash of script writing and plot details, and I think objectively Two-Face is one of the worst aspects of the movie. Two-Face is the worst aspect of both movies he's in. So as a movie, Dark Knight I would say is terrible, but Heath Ledger's performance, he deserved it. He's great as the Joker. His Joker was great. I just wish he was in a better movie.
Wow, such a hot take, man.
I know. I found people who actually agree with me in that.
Hot steaming poop take. I mean, sorry, great insight.
Oh yeah. I'm a hot patootie. Yep.
Hey Jerry, you're up next.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go full hipster on you at some point, but I think I'll wait.
Do it now. Do it now.
I have
Hot
my
takes.
hipster
Do it now.
choice in the
Do it now.
No,
Do it,
I want to make my case for Catwoman because I think Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns is
Okay.
the most true, like to the spirit of Batman in that movie. Because yeah, she is that crazy kind of Tim Burton-y weird character, but at the same time, I just think that she's badass and she's got that theatricality that we love in our Batman villains. And I feel like it's the one Catwoman that I really feel is a villain. I mean, yeah, she's kind of on Batman's side at a certain point, but really she's kind of she's got her own agenda. She's unhinged. She's a vigilante, but not in the way that Batman is. And I really think she is a villain in that movie. Not like in the way that Penguin is or the way that Max Schreck is, but in a way she is some kind of indicative of the rot in the city and the rot that's going on, and it's gotten to her and it's turned her into this monster. And she's just that performance, just the performance of Michelle Pfeiffer, I think is one of the great like comic book movie performances, and it's always going to be the thing that stands out for me in that movie. So I don't know what you guys will say. I just wanted to throw it out there. I wanted to argue for her as a villain and for her performance. So maybe that redeems me a tad, Chris. I don't know.
A lot. It redeems you.
I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start. You guys are probably gonna hate me for this, and it's probably gonna get on anyway. But it's a no for me, just because to me she wasn't playing Catwoman. It's the same problem I had with the Penguin was that it was this Tim Burton kind of weird, like not Catwoman but Catwoman at the same time. It was so weird and so over the top and strange. It wasn't the Selena Kyle that, as a comic fan, I watched. I was like, that's not Selena Kyle. She's playing Catwoman, but she's playing this version that Tim Burton has in his mind, not the one that, is kind of behind the scenes playing Batman. Kind of the cool type villain, where the cool, sexy type villain. She was just over sexualized, and maybe that's just me, and I'll be alone on this, but it's a no for me. Sandy?
She was fourth on my list, so we have a winner. I was going to bring her up. She's absolutely fantastic in that movie. She starts off as kind of a ditzy, kind of kind of disheveled, and then she turns into. I would honestly say that she turns into somebody with a split personality. She's Selena Kyle and Catwoman at the same time, and somehow doesn't make it look stupid or random, that it's supposed to be that way on purpose. And I mean, like, seriously, I don't want to get in trouble, but vinyl suit? Come on. I mean, come on.
It works. Great tits.
Chris? Now,
that was out loud, Chris.
We are going to get flagged so hard on our very first episode. Thanks, Chris.
Editing.
I don't edit. So.
Oh wait, did you throw it to me? Is it my turn? What?
Who's turn?
Robert.
No. Okay.
Robert.
Okay. She's number 11 on my list. So out of principle, out of principle, I have to say no. Chris is obviously going to put it on, and I completely support the decision to put it on. A great villain. There's barely any holes you can poke in that performance. The one thing I would say is Michelle Pfeiffer can't play ditzy at all. It comes off as just.
I disagree.
I don't think she pulls off.
She did great.
I don't think she pulls off the beginning of that movie at all. That being said, still really enjoy her performance. Still really like the villain. Just didn't quite make it on for me. But I have a couple again left field picks, so I'm gonna have to say no. But I am still really happy that it's gonna be put on. All
right, Chris, go ahead and put it on.
Well, look, what was that? That didn't sound right, but it's great. What we're gonna do is this. Celine Dion, not Celine Dion, Kyle.
Celine Dion as
Selena Kyle. Michelle Pfeiffer.
Selena Gomez.
Michelle Pfeiffer did great as Selena Kyle. She embodies what Catwoman from the this is also Tim Burton's vision. He was given carte blanche because nobody at this point in time, it's also the time it was made, had that big of a hit with a comic book movie. This was the first time a director was given sole creative control over a comic book movie based on characters already written. He wanted to put his own take on it. Yes, in present day it looks really off because we're used to comic book movies that need to delve strictly to the source material. This was a different time. That's my defense on Penguin too, but he's already denied. But with Catwoman, I need to have Batman Returns is the single greatest comic book movie ever made, and it needs some sort of representation. So yes.
Okay.
Ooh. Hey.
Like I said, I'm not mad that this is on the list. I just personally didn't see her as Catwoman, but completely get that she's on here. All right, Chris, go ahead.
I'm going to do this. If you guys grew up with the 1960s Batman television series, the 66 Batman movie had 4 villains in it, 2 of which are glorified background characters, which are the Riddler and the Joker. Then you have to go into Julie Newmar, and you have to go into Burgess Meredith.
Lee Merriweather. Yeah.
Lee Merriweather. I said Julie Newmar. She's in the show. Lee Merriweather and you have to look at which one of them is the actual main antagonist of the film. I'm going to try to put Penguin on here again because Burgess Meredith's Penguin is not just one of the most iconic things in television. He also has one of the most iconic performances in a comic book movie as Penguin, with his squawking and his actual live cigarette smoking. His performance during the entire thing as Penguin is objectively the best thing about that movie because of how much he was put through to health-wise to get that performance through. So Burgess Meredith's Penguin is on the table. And it's either that or Catwoman, and I just chose Penguin just because I want him on the list. So go for it, guys.
All right, Jeremy.
Now, to me, this is the Penguin. This is, it's kind of a goofy, silly, satirical version of it, but he really does. Burgess Meredith is a great actor. He's been around in movies since the 30s. He's done so much fantastic work. Obviously, as Mickey in the Rocky films, he's legendary. And I think he is so phenomenal in that role. And to me, this really captures this character. And you're right. He is kind of calling the shots in that movie. He's kind of driving that movie forward. Even though he's got these other iconic villains with him, he kind of takes center stage. So I'm actually going to say yes. I think that this is a good choice, and hopefully I'm still getting some redemption with you.
Yeah, you're lower on the list now, but you're still above.
All right. Okay.
Sandy, go ahead.
This was number 3 on my list.
Wow.
Holy shit.
Burgess Meredith absolutely portrays the Penguin exactly how you would picture and hear him from the comic. His everything he does is so Penguin, and yeah, he is absolutely the ringleader where most people would think the Joker is, but no, Burgess Meredith's Penguin is absolutely the ringleader of these yahoos, and he has to try to get them to do things all the time. So him being an evil, maniacal villain and having to corral all the rest of the villains puts him on this list, hands down.
All right, Robert.
Yes. They've already said everything that needs to be said. But
Happy.
yes.
Yep, and my vote did count, but I would have said yes also because this is the true portrayal of the Penguin, and I'm glad that Chris brought it up.
Yeah. Recently, he's been a crime lord, but back in the day, he was just a goofy guy with an umbrella.
All right, so it's on to me now. See, I hate doing this because we just talked about this one character, but I'm about to go with it. 1989, Jack Nicholson, Joker. Yes, I know Joker's on here twice, but you can't have a best DC movies villain without mentioning Jack Nicholson's portrayal. A perfect portrayal for one of the three Jokers: the goofy, the insane, the out of his mind Joker, who also has a plan. He's not just completely crazy. He has a plan. He's smooth. He's smooth talking. Everything about Jack Nicholson's Joker is golden age Joker, and it's fun. And every time I watch it, I can always quote the lines that he's on, that he has. He's very quotable as well. So Jack Nicholson's Joker is on the list, or is nominated. Jeremy, what do you say?
Hunter, you're my number one guy. Yeah, I love Jack Nicholson as the Joker. People have complained that he's just kind of doing Jack, but I think that's a little unfair. I think, yeah, he's kind of doing his Jack Nicholson persona, but I think he really does tap into the craziness, the maniacalness, the real scariness of that character in a certain way. It's not, to the level that we would see later with like Heath Ledger and stuff, but there is a menace in that character as he plays it, and it's a lot of fun. It's really awesome. It's really iconic. Killing people with joy buzzers and melting them, and then having conversations with their charred corpses. I mean, it's hard to beat that. It's pretty great. And I know that the movie hasn't aged great, but I still always have very soft spot for that film. I'm old enough to have seen Batman 89 in the theater 4 times. Went with like every one of my relatives that I could find to go with. I remember the line being down the block at like driving by the first day and being, oh man, the line's around the block. I don't know that I'd ever seen that with the movie before. And it was huge. And a lot of it was that performance. I mean, the Michael Keaton and everything in the movie was great, but Jack Nicholson just dominates the screen and brings something so legendary to that character that for me, that really does still hold up. So other than maybe the Dancing to Prince music and stuff like that, I think that the character holds up.
Yeah. Robert.
I too saw this 4 times in the theater.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
I wasn't born almost 10 years after this came out. So this is an issue. This is number 12 on my list. I do really like Jack Nicholson's impersonation of the Joker. I am one of the people who I didn't see Batman 89 until relatively recently, like a couple of years ago. And I think my personal experience with it is I saw Heath Ledger's first, which was a mistake probably on my part. But I do think Jack Nicholson is more of a caricature of himself than he is playing a character in this movie. This is similar to Road with Catwoman. I am very happy that it will get on. I just have to, on principle, say no.
Okay. Sandy?
Jeremy, I love you. You're my brother in arms. And I will say this, unfortunately, you did make the comment about Jim Carrey playing Jim Carrey, and not the Riddler. And Jack Nicholson plays the of course he's fucking in. Are you seriously?
You had me for a second. You son of a bitch.
He is hands down the best Joker that has
really had me that time.
Screen. He's absolutely the best Joker that's played on screen. He's maniacal. He's jokey. He's got that flair. Wait till they get a load of me. Like, come on, seriously. Like, I just watched The Shining last night, and Jack is Jack. Jack is Jack no matter what he's in. Watch any movie that Jack Nicholson is in. He's that good that people see him as Jack Nicholson, not the character that he's in. But if you're a fan, you can separate the character and the actor, and you can see the portrayal that he does, and he's absolutely one of the best Jokers that have ever been on screen.
All right. So Jack Nicholson's Joker is in, but Chris, what would you have said?
Well, Jack Nicholson's Joker is basically Wilson Fisk with a white mask. He's essentially the crime lord version of the Joker. He is a gangster version of the Joker, and objectively, yes, that's the Joker that I love. That's the Joker that I care about. That's the Joker I grew up with. That's the Joker that's not Heath Ledger. And that's the Joker that's number 2 on my list. So, yes.
Awesome. Okay. Woo! All right, Sandman, you're up.
It's me. I'm sorry.
No,
the Sandman. Sandman.
Have we? Isn't this your third nomination, Sandy?
This is my third.
Oh, I've only done one.
It's got to be Robert next.
Is it?
Has Robert not had any?
I've only had one. No, that's true. I've done 2.
Oh.
No, I lied.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
I forgot. I forgot about the comedian because the comedian made it in. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. You're bullshit.
It's Sandy.
choice.
It's Sandy.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Sandy.
I'm going to go off the rails on this one, guys. I'm going into a different area, and I have a feeling it'll be my second straight no. But I am picking Mr. Nobody from The Losers, played by Jason Patric.
Ooh, hell of a pick.
He is fantastic as the
Jesus
villain.
Christ.
He has zero empathy. He has zero caring. He is 100% true badness and evil put together. He has the biggest ego on the planet. He does not care about anything other than him and being put into his pocketbooks and can maintain control. He kills a bunch of kids in a helicopter. He frames the group as murderers. He collects money. He kills somebody flat out, like that just didn't answer the way that he wanted him to. He's making bombs to destroy the planet. He is possibly one of the best villains that has been on screen in a DC property. So, Mr. Nobody, Jason Patric, The Losers is my pick.
All right, let's go on to Robert.
That is really tough because it was on my side list. Damn it, Sandy. That's a good pick. How many are in the top 10 confirmed so far?
We're at 7.
We're at 7. We have 3 more.
There are at least 2 more that need to get on that I have in my top 3. So I have to say no. Even though it's a great pick and I love the pick, I have to say no. When there's 2 movies in my top 3 that haven't made it on yet, I needed to get some other work done.
Okay, so we have 1 no, 1 yes. Jeremy?
I haven't seen it. I'm sorry, brother. I've been meaning to because you're always recommending it, Sandy, but I just haven't gotten to it yet. So I think that counts as a no, just because I haven't seen it. Yeah. I'm sorry.
You guys are no longer best friends.
At least I've heard of it because Kay said he'd never even heard of it. So I'd throw him under the bus.
All right, Chris?
I actually remember seeing this movie once, but I don't think it's fair for me to actually give it a vote.
That's a no.
But 1 second, I knew Hunter. Can you do you have the list of everything selected?
I do.
Okay. Okay. So because I've lost track. So I would say no. Sadly, Sandy. Sadly.
Okay. So he does not make the list, and I haven't seen it either, Sandy. I'm sorry.
Oh man, you only.
At least we're being honest. At least we're being honest.
Movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's ignorance. So if we watch it, we might apologize because.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
No, it's all good, guys.
For the MCU thing,
that was a long shot. That was a long shot for me. I just didn't want it to be all Joker and Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
I have a longer shot that I haven't brought up yet that I don't think I'm going to be able to because I need my number 2 and 3 in.
All right. We're going on to Robert.
Scarecrow from the Dark Knight trilogy. This is a villain who is not the main villain of any of the three movies he appears in, yet is arguably the most integral part of all three movies that he appears in. In Batman Begins, he is easily the most important part of Batman Begins, working under Ra's al Ghul to disperse the toxin. Easily the most important part of that movie. His cameo in The Dark Knight is incredibly important and really showing of the just madness of Jonathan Crane as a character. And then in Dark Knight Rises, obviously an important part of Gordon's journey in that movie. So yeah, Cillian Murphy, Scarecrow in the Dark Knight trilogy.
Okay, I'm going to start. It was on my list, so I'm going to say yes. I absolutely love the Scarecrow in Batman Begins because while he wasn't a main villain, the scenes that he had in the movie were some of the best in Batman Begins, in my opinion. They were so creepy and really what Scarecrow needed to be for this new reboot that we were doing for the Dark Knight trilogy with Nolan. So Cillian Murphy absolutely killed it as Jonathan Crane and Scarecrow, so it's a yes for me. Jeremy?
Yeah, I'm going to say yes on this one. I remember when Batman Begins came out and just how refreshing and awesome that movie was. And I think Cillian Murphy as Scarecrow was a big part of that. I think that he brought a menace to that movie that was a little different. It wasn't, as big and crazy as what we've seen in the past. He's able to kind of be this psychotic character that brought a bit of chaos into that movie without kind of overwhelming stuff. And I think it's a unique character. He's a really great actor, and I do like how they carried him through in minor ways in the next two movies. I love his little part in Dark Knight Rises and kind of what he's doing there. He isn't in my top 5 or anything, but I really think he does rank for me as a DC villain, so that'd be yes.
Okay, so Cillian Murphy's Scarecrow makes it in, but Sandy, what would you have said?
Batman Begins is my favorite of the Nolan trilogy. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I'm not unapologetic about it. It's my favorite. As much as I love his portrayal of it, he makes the list for me.
Okay.
I'm just messing with all of you guys because every time
it's working.
You guys are
it is.
I'm picking all of yours.
And Chris, what would you have said?
Batman Begins is a perfect film from start to finish.
Yes.
And everything about it is perfection. Unlike the other two Nolan movies, everything about this, how it was written, the story, everything about it, and the villains are list worthy.
I have both of the other two on my list.
Once you get to me, you'll see. But I say yes, 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 yes.
Okay. So now on to Jeremy. We have 2 spots remaining in our top 10.
I'm going to take I'm going to take my time to go hipster here. So not every DC comic book movie is like, superhero extravaganza. There have been other films that have been made that were based on DC properties. And I think one of the best of these, a movie that I just really think is really great and underrated is the Sam Mendes film, A Road to Perdition. And I think that one of the all-time great movie actors for very, very seldom played a villain in this film I'm sorry, I'm blanking out for a minute here. The great Paul Newman played John Rooney, who is a gangster, an Irish gangster in this movie. And he has kind of a father-son sort of relationship with his head hitman, played by Tom Hanks in the film. And something happens where the two are on opposite sides and, things go wrong. And you see this like fatherly character kind of turn. And even though he doesn't, want to do it, he has to kind of turn against this kind of son figure. And you see, even though, he kind of has a little bit of a benevolence to him, there is that steely criminal killer instinct inside of him. And there's so much shade and depth that Paul Newman brings to this character. This is a real world villain. This is a villain that you could see in real life. Yes, this is based on a comic book. Yes, it has some comic book elements. It's very graphically designed and really cool to look at. But at the same time, it's a human story in some ways. And I think it would be awesome to have a character and a performance like this on this list, just to give it a little something different and show that DC is not, one thing. DC is other things as well.
All right, I'm gonna start. I haven't seen this movie.
Okay.
I've been meaning to, so I don't know if that counts as a no.
It
That's a
does.
no. That's a no.
Yeah,
All right, Chris.
I'm pleading ignorance too. He made a great pitch for it. What's the movie again?
Road to Perdition.
Road to Perdition.
Oh yeah, I thought you meant Bridge to Terabithia.
Oscar
I-
winning.
I-
Oscar
Bridge to
winning.
I've never seen either though. So yeah,
Oscar
Alright.
winning.
Robert, we already know what your answer is going to be.
Yes. Best cinematography, and Paul Newman is an amazing villain. Yes. Yes.
Thank you.
All right, Sandy, you break the tie here.
Number 5 on my list. Was
It is. Oh my God! I really thought it was off on Hipster Island. Thank you, guys.
Road to Perdition is I am an absolute Paul Newman honk. I love almost everything he's done throughout his entire career, and trust me, I've watched everything. And especially some of the stuff he did in his later years. And Road to Perdition is one of those movies. He is so good at playing, and like Jeremy said, he's absolutely correct, a real world villain, somebody that you could run into, somebody that you could meet and not even know he was the person that he was. And the simple fact that he does all the bad things that he does in order because of who he is, makes him scarier than some of the rest of the villains that have made our list.
Okay, so John Rooney.
John Rooney.
Makes the list. We have one more left. Chris, it's on to you.
well, I said that Batman Begins was a perfect film. It is my third favorite comic book movie ever made, and I feel like it's probably this is gonna take me a bit to say when I say that I'm gonna take you by storm, because I will find you, I will kill you, and I will murder you. This is Liam Neeson, Ra's al Ghul. I know it's pronounced Ra's al Ghul in the film, but it's the correct pronunciation is Ra's. Yeah. But Ra's al Ghul from Batman Begins. You guys said everything about Scarecrow. Ra's al Ghul is his boss, is the big honcho of the film. If you've seen Batman Begins, you love Batman Begins. It's centered around two people, Bruce Wayne and Ra's al Ghul, and their relationship for most of the movie and how it builds up. And Ra's is on the table.
All right, I'm gonna start. He's on my list. Absolutely love Liam Neeson as as Ra's al Ghul in Batman Begins. It's a yes for me. The mastermind behind the scenes, running things, but when shit goes down, he's ready to fight. He's ready to die for his cause, and that makes a great villain. Robert?
Yes. Batman Begins is the most rewatchable comic book movie ever made, in my opinion. It is easily in my top. It might be my favorite comic book movie ever made, and that's coming from somebody who is more of a Marvel guy than a DC guy. Batman Begins might be my favorite comic book film ever made. Yes, 100 times yes. Even Ra's al Ghul's, even his reprise of the role in Dark Knight Rises for the brief periods he is in that movie, what we do get to see of him, and it is great. We see more of his backstory, which I really, really like. And obviously what he is in Ra's al Ghul, or what he is in Batman Begins, the second he shows up to Gotham at that party, everything stands still. Time stands still because of the tension in that room, and absolutely he needs to be on this list.
All right, so Ra's al Ghul, played by Liam Neeson, makes it. Sandy, what would you have said?
I would have said yes, of course. Like I said, Batman Begins is my favorite, but I will add on to what Robert said, especially that scene, because I think that scene brings out the best in
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale, thank you. It brings out the best in Christian Bale as well, because as soon as he knows what's going to happen, he turns that drunk on, and he's like, "Hey guys," and he completely alienates himself from all of the upper richer people, and it's such a great scene because he's pretending to be drunk and being serious at the same time, because he knows he hates all these. Because the real man is Bruce Wayne. The actual person is Batman. We all know that from watching that as well. Yeah. So him to be able to pull that out and do that at that time, that's why Liam Neeson's portrayal is so good, because it pulled that out of Christian Bale as well.
Mm-hmm. All right, Jeremy?
Oh yeah, he's so great. And one of the cool things about him that's also true of some other great villains is that he just believes in what he's doing. He's got a mission. He's not like a mustache twirling villain out there to try to, do something dastardly. I think this is a guy who thinks he's doing the right thing that's going to benefit society. He's kind of a true believer. He's kind of, you could say, almost like a religious cult type person who is hell-bent on his mission. And I think that Liam Neeson nails that. And it was a really fantastic villain. And when in the beginning of the movie, you don't know he's a villain. You really like him, and you really think, oh, wow, he's helping, Bruce Wayne become Batman, and it's awesome. And then when he turns, it's so powerful and dramatic, and yeah, he's definitely up there for me.
All right, awesome. So we now have our top 10, which I will read out to you guys right now. We have Lex Luthor, played by Gene Hackman. The comedian, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. General Zod, Terrence Stamp. The Joker, Heath Ledger. Catwoman, Michelle Pfeiffer. The Penguin, Burgess. Is that
Burgess.
Burgess Meredith. The Joker, Jack Nicholson. Scarecrow, Cillian Murphy. John Rooney, Paul Newman. And Ra's al Ghul, Liam Neeson. Okay, so now how this one works is it's time to eliminate 3 of these villains that we have our top 7. So what
can we run out honorable mentions if we have some real quick?
Oh yes, go ahead, Robert.
Sorry, these are some a couple of hipster picks that I just wanted to throw out real quickly that I didn't get the chance to talk about. Carmine Falcone in Batman Begins.
Yes.
Wilkinson. Lucifer in Constantine, played by Peter Stormare. Nobody else is going to bring that up, but I wanted to. Adam Sutler in V for Vendetta, played by John Hurt. The Phantasm, Batman Master of the Phantasm. Catwoman, Batman 66, and the Joker in the Lego Batman movie. Those were my 6 honorable mentions that I didn't get the chance to talk about, but I wanted to bring up.
Okay, I'm going to go next because I had Bane, Dark Knight Rises. I know none of you guys would vote for that, but I don't like him. I had Anne Hathaway's Catwoman, which I feel was a better portrayal of Selena Kyle, but what are you going to do? And then I had Two-Face, The Dark Knight. I love the way Aaron Eckhart portrays Harvey Dent, and then the dramatic turn of him, getting his burnt face, and then him just going crazy was so well done. All right, Sandy?
I only have 2 comments and off of it, so I will bring up the one that I didn't mention just because we'd already had one of them on the list. Michael Shannon's portrayal of Zod in Man of Steel is absolutely righteous. It's once again, Jeremy mentioned it with Ra's al Ghul. He is one of those people that doesn't believe he's evil. He believes he's doing what he's doing is right for his own people. So it doesn't matter to him that he's going to destroy every single person on Earth. He's making a home for his people, and that's who he cares about. And it was and he made Superman kill him, which we'd never seen before ever. So, so he's on that list. I will mention one. I wish that I could have put Bane on this list. I really, really, really wanted to. But the portrayal of Bane in the comics is so much better than any of the portrayals in the movies. They just do not do him justice. He is so smart. He is so good. He is so methodical in the comics. I wish they would do a better job. I hope that when we get another Batman series that he becomes a villain, and the proper villain that we need. So my last one, it's a small one because we haven't seen him anymore. Joe Manganiello as Deathstroke.
Oh, nice.
Justice League.
Nice little cameo there.
I really want to see him play Deathstroke. I really want that movie, whether or not he's in the bad guy in a Batman movie or in the next Justice League movie, if there ever is one. That's what I want to see because I think he looked fan-freaking-tastic when he got on that boat.
Oh, he looked incredible.
Yeah, those are mine.
All right, Jeremy?
I'm going to throw out another Joker. I really enjoyed Zach Galifianakis' performance as the Joker in the Lego Batman movie. I thought that the kind of the relationship they had where he felt almost like a jilted boyfriend was really fun. I just thought that was a really fun character. And one more hipster choice. Another film a lot of people don't realize is a DC property is the great David Cronenberg film A History of Violence. And
Yes.
this is a film starring Viggo
Really?
Mortensen. And William Hurt actually got an Oscar nomination for playing the character Richie Cusack, who is actually the brother of Viggo Mortensen's character, but he's a vicious criminal killer type. And he only had like one scene that he was in. He has less than 10 minutes of screen time, but he just commands the screen, makes such an impression in that film, totally makes you understand the entire backstory of Viggo Mortensen's character. And it's so memorable enough that, this 10-minute performance would get an Oscar nomination. So I just had to throw that one out there.
It was either that or V for Vendetta for me, but I really wanted to talk about that one too.
Okay, Chris?
I really think I hit almost everything. Zach Galifianakis' Joker was also on my list because that Lego movie is fantastic. Let me look at this little
It's
thing.
the best relationship between Batman and Joker that we have.
It really is. Like, if we were doing TV movies and stuff, like you could go for Slade from Teen Titans, the Japan Adventures in Japan. There's a lot of stuff that you could go for, but and I'm looking at this Batman villain list here. I think we hit almost everybody except Hector Hammond from Green Lantern was actually really good.
No, it's not.
No. But or Enchantress from Suicide Squad. No, thank you.
Well, that's also not. Ares from Wonder Woman was a contender for me, maybe.
Maybe. We hit everybody that I wanted. You guys reject. Oh, never mind. Biggie. This is the Biggie. Max Schreck from Batman Returns.
I would have said Harley Quinn if I didn't feel she was a villain, though. Like
she's a protagonist. She's not
in Suicide Squad. The one good thing about movie.
You would say that Amanda Waller could have been considered the villain.
That might be.
Would you guys have counted Deadshot?
No, he's
a protagonist.
I mean, he's a villainous character, but he's the main.
So if you look, it's your definition of villain. That's your definition. If it's the antagonist,
that's why the comedian is still a cheating pick, and I'm glad it was in the top 10.
It's interesting.
Hey.
Harley doesn't really do anything evil though. Like she's helping them. I mean, she kind of does. I feel she's different than the comedian.
She steals stuff, and that is one of the most villainous crimes of all. Especially if that shop did not have insurance.
Oh, terrible.
Okay, let's move on to the elimination process. So guys, just write down the one movie that you guys want to eliminate.
Just a second, guys.
If it has the most votes, then it is eliminated out of our top 10.
Is there a way for you to put the movies in like the chat or something, or?
I can.
Cool. Because if you do that, then we could just easily like narrow that down.
Yeah.
See, I can write it down.
Oh, you wrote it down. Oh, cool.
I wrote it down as well.
Yeah.
All right.
Get good, Chris.
All right.
What's on your sheet there, Sandy?
We're writing down the one we think we should be eliminated. Right? Elimination. Is that correct? We're writing down the elimination.
Yeah. Well, we want to be eliminated.
Yeah.
I have the first one at least.
Mine. I'm still thinking. Oh,
it's all good, guys.
All right. Almost done.
It's all good.
All right, I'm all ready.
There we go.
Thank you so much, Hunter.
No problem. All right, I gotta write down mine real quick. Okay, everyone ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, so let's start with Robert.
I love that he made the top 10, but the comedian should not make the top 7.
Sandy.
Sandy, what's yours?
Sandy.
I'm still thinking, damn it. Go to somebody else.
Okay, Jeremy.
Oh, I might get some hate, but Scarecrow.
Chris.
Negan himself, the comedian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And then I had Catwoman, but
I'm
Sandy?
going to go with the comedian as well.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the comedian is the first one to be eliminated.
Cool.
We talked
Yeah,
about it. That's
he
what
made
my
the list,
answer choice. Go watch Watchmen if you haven't seen it since 2009. You'll rediscover it. It's a good movie.
I'm keeping the
Okay.
count.
Director's
I'm
cut.
keeping the count in the Google Hangout chat.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right. So our second elimination pick.
I wonder what Jeremy's is.
Yeah, I wonder.
All right, Jeremy,
Scarecrow.
Chris,
John Rooney.
Robert,
Catwoman.
Sandy.
Catwoman.
Wow.
I
Wow.
also have Catwoman.
So
You all
Absolutely.
mine
suck.
is Catwoman.
Absolutely.
You suck.
Wow.
Okay, and our last.
The truth comes out.
Actually.
Have you had to erase your board yet, Jer?
No.
All
I
right,
erased it once stupidly, but I didn't erase it a second.
is everyone ready?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Robert,
Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Ugh.
Oh,
Jeremy,
Scarecrow.
Chris,
Rooney.
Sandy.
Scarecrow.
Oh.
I had John Rooney.
Oh,
it's two-way tie.
Robert's got to change his
Robert.
void.
Oh,
Robert has to.
Robert.
Goodbye, John Rooney.
John Rooney is staying on. Oh wait, no.
Really?
Wait. Scarecrow
It's
versus
Rooney. Yeah, it's
Oh,
Scarecrow
okay.
versus
Rooney.
Yeah,
Rooney.
Scarecrow's
man.
gonna stay on.
Yeah.
It was Scarecrow was my number 2.
Okay, so John Rooney.
Scarecrow was my number 2. John Rooney was my number 6. That's just the way it had to be.
Yeah. That's cool.
All right. So now, should I go over who we have left on the list?
Yeah.
hmm
Okay, so our top 7 is Lex Luthor, Gene Hackman, General Zod, Terrence Stamp, the Joker, Heath Ledger, Penguin. Can you
Burgess
guys say your
Meredith.
name?
Burgess Meredith.
Meredith.
There you go. The Joker, Jack Nicholson, Scarecrow, Cillian Murphy, and Ra's al Ghul, Liam Neeson. Okay,
Wow, we
so
already ended up with Superman and Batman villains.
Yeah.
yeah. That is true.
Maybe if you wouldn't
have voted off the
comedian.
Yeah, or John Rooney.
All right.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna vote for number 7. So you guys write down the villain who should be at number 7.
Got it.
I wonder.
This one's pretty
I wonder
clear,
what
yeah.
you're gonna pick.
I wonder what I picked.
And Sandy.
Okay, I got it. All right, Chris.
I had Heath Ledger the Joker.
Woo!
Robert.
Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Sandy.
Scarecrow.
Jeremy.
Scarecrow.
The Scarecrow is number 7. I had the Penguin, but number 7 is Scarecrow.
All right, now it gets harder.
Nah.
I'm no way you guys are voting for Heath Ledger's Joker. I just wanted to make a statement.
And you've made it.
And you did. All right. Everyone ready?
Mhm.
1 second. I'm actually gonna do this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Chris.
Objectively, love him, but the Penguin.
Ooh.
I also had the Penguin. Robert.
Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Jeremy.
The Penguin.
Sandy.
The Penguin.
All right. So the
Yep,
Penguin is number
For the
6.
record, I like that villain more than Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Yeah, we got that.
I love Burgess Meredith, but he's not up to the caliber as everybody else.
Yeah. Whew, number 5.
This one's also kind of maybe obvious because we're getting into hard territory right now.
Yeah. Okay. I'm probably the only one who has this, but I'm gonna start. I have Lex Luthor at number 5. Sandy?
I spelt it brutally, but it's Ra's al Ghul.
Ra's al Ghul. Robert?
Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Jeremy?
Ra's al Ghul.
Chris?
This is interesting. This is really interesting because I have Lex Luthor.
Oh, Robert picks again.
Robert again between Ra's al Ghul and Lex
All right.
Luthor.
Lex Luthor is number 5 then.
Yeah. Mhm.
Lex Luthor is our number 5.
Number 5 is Lex Luthor.
You know that the leader of the villain underground gang, right? You know, the Injustice League.
Number 4.
Damn you all.
All right, this one's pretty easy for me, actually. All right, I'm gonna start. It's Ra's al Ghul. Sandy,
Ra's al Ghul.
Robert,
Jack Nicholson's Joker.
He's just gonna keep dying on the hill. Ra's al Ghul.
and Chris.
So it's automatically Raish, but
Yeah.
I had Ledger's Joker.
Okay, Ra's al Ghul is our number 4. Why do I feel like our top 2 are gonna be?
Joker.
This is what I was trying to avoid.
Yeah, me too.
Number 3.
That's what I've been trying to avoid for the last 10 picks.
Oh,
All right, fine.
Conform.
okay.
Robert's trying to bend us to his will.
Robert.
Jack Nicholson's Joker.
Oh my God, I'm shocked. Sandy.
Jack Joker.
I also have
Alec-
Joker.
Jack Napier.
Jeremy.
I had General Zod.
Chris.
This would have been interesting had somebody not voted for Joker because I had Zod.
Okay.
Yeah, that would have been interesting, but oh well.
3-2. So Jack's Joker is number 3.
So do we pick our number 1 now? Is that what we do?
Yes.
Okay.
Number 1.
Oh God, that's easy.
Man, this is such a bummer.
This is number 1.
I love those Jokers. What can I say? Sorry, Zandy.
Sorry, buddy.
Okay, I'm gonna start. It's obvious. I'm sorry, Sandy, but it's the Joker. It's Heath Ledger's Joker. Robert.
Heath Ledger's Joker.
Really?
Jeremy.
Heath Ledger's Joker.
Jesus Christ, we are so predictable. I said Danny DeVito's Penguin.
Not on the list.
Fuck you guys.
Oh, you know what? I'm re-voting. Sorry.
I'm going to re-vote too, yeah.
John Rooney. There you go.
Sandy
Wait.
got it.
Wait, that says Rasputin from Hellboy. What the heck?
You almost made my list.
He's not DC.
Yeah, that's not DC, right?
He's not Marvel technically either.
Shredder DC now because of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles having the DC license?
Is it?
I have no clue.
Okay.
They crossed over with Archie. They can't be DC.
So
All right, hold on. All right, so our top 7 is completed. I'm gonna go through it. At number 7, we have The Scarecrow by Cillian Murphy. Number 6, The Penguin. Number 5, Lex Luthor. Number 4, Ra's al Ghul. Number 3, Joker, Jack Nicholson. Number 2, General Zod. And number 1, Heath Ledger's Joker. So, our top 7 ended up being mostly Batman villains with one Superman villain, and that's Terrence Stamp Zod.
No surprise.
No, Lex was 5. Lex was 5.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Lex was number 5.
It was
Lex.
2-5 for Superman, Batman villains.
Yep. All right, so before we head out, we're going to let everyone do their plugs. Sandy, where can people find you online?
Guys, you know, it's Sandy the Sandman Robinson. You guys can find me everywhere on Full Metal Media. You guys can find me everywhere on Worldwide Movie Games. You guys can find me doing reactions and doing special events for Take 3. Find me anywhere on those places, folks. Jukebox Trivia, Multiplex Entertainment, Movie Battlegrounds, everywhere.
He's all over the place. Robert, where can people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd at RBRTPRKR98. It's my first and last name, Novalis plus a year. You can find me everywhere on the online trivia sphere. You can look for, in the next month or so, 2 new podcasts I'm working on. One with Zach Ford, one with Cody Newberry. Those are going to be 2 great shows that we're bringing down the pipeline. And other than that, I'm one of the 2 newest admins and members of the Take 3 team. So I'm really excited to be working with everything that I'm going to be doing over there. And I'm excited to start that journey. So yeah.
All right. Jeremy the Adam. Adam, where can people find you online?
Jeremy Paul Adams on Facebook and on YouTube. You can find me on the Worldwide Movie Games Network, head question writer for the Worldwide Movie Trivia League, as well as Full Metal Trivia and all the content we have in Full Metal Media, which is connected over there.
And Chris Clark, where can people find you? Being so negative.
I'm going to be so negative because I'm going to be positively on Twitter and Instagram. You can find me at Chris Clark. Val's that's not my plugs.
That's
you can
my
find
plug.
That's your plugs. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Chris Clark 8788. Those numbers mean nothing. You can find me on YouTube at Take 3 Productions, where we do reactions and all that jazz. Or you can find me every Saturday producing the Schmodown Rundown, the official after show for the movie trivia Schmodown on Collider Factory on Podcast One or on the SK Plus YouTube channel.
All right, awesome. And you guys can like, share, and subscribe to Film Nerd TV. If you guys enjoy watching gameplay videos, I have just started a Twitch channel that's Film Nerd Gaming, all one word. Check out my Patreon and my Stardust at Film Nerd TV. I'm Hunter, and these are my great panelists, and we'll see you guys soon. Peace.
Bada